Hey guys, what's going on? JH Vlogs here, back with another video. If you're new around here, hello and welcome. I'm a third year student at the University of Reading where I'm studying real estate. And today I want to start a discussion on money. Today's discussion is going to focus around making money now and quickly. It's unlikely that any of these methods are going to make you particularly rich, but this is sort of a follow-up to my last video on budgeting about how to just make a few extra pounds per week or per month in order to sustain your current lifestyle. Now, I was doing some research before making this video into what other people had to say on the matter. As you know, I fancy myself as a bit of an entrepreneur. I want to make a few bucks here and there with my time. And I was actually surprised at the lack of good advice in this area. For instance, somebody would say invest in the stock market. Now, don't get me wrong, that's an amazing way to grow your wealth over a long period and accrue wealth over a lifetime. But that's not what this point of this video is. I need the money now. I don't have a lifetime to wait. Like, if I put £100 in, I wouldn't expect returns to continually be above 10% per year, which means I get £10 back over the whole year. That's 19p a week. It's not really what I'm looking for. Obviously, over time, again, it's a brilliant method because it will compound and it will grow. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about providing methods to make money now, quick, hard and fast. So what are my earning methods? Well, I'll get into that right now, starting with the least risky and slowly building up to get to the highest risk, which also will come with probably the highest reward. Let's jump into it. Earning method number one, volunteering at your university. This can be, say, taking part in an open day and touring prospective students around the university campus, or it could be volunteering at the university's psychology department for experiments. Now, this may sound scary, but I can assure you it isn't. My house and I, we all volunteered to do an experiment this year. We ended up being paid £90 each for just 9 hours work. And that was just putting a VR headset on and trying to judge distances by walking around a room. So again, not scary at all and a very decent payout. The three big benefits of this method are, number one, the university is the one paying you, so you know 100% you're going to get paid. You know what the task will be, how much time you're going to have to give up. You'll know everything down to the finest detail before you start. Number two, the location. It's not like you're going to have to travel particularly far. It's likely if you're a university student, you're based somewhere near campus, so you can access it rather easily. And thirdly is the flexibility. You can take on as many tasks or as few tasks as you want, depending on your other ambitions or how much work you have. You can scale it up and scale it down appropriately. Onto the drawbacks. There's obviously a limit to how much you can earn. There's only so many hours in a day and you're only going to be paid so much per hour depending on the task. So you're not going to get rich off of this. The other thing may be you're sort of reliant upon the university to keep running these sort of schemes. If there, say, isn't any experiments going on or there isn't any open days coming up, you may be a bit stuck waiting for them. But whenever there is one, it's a great chance to earn some quick bucks. The second way to earn whilst being a student is through a part-time job. Now, this has a lot of the same benefits to the university, in that you tend to know what role you're going to do, how many hours, how much you're going to get paid beforehand. And there's a guaranteed payment coming, likely if you're not working for a particularly dodgy employer. However, these roles tend to be less flexible. Now, you can see that as a positive in the fact that you have a fixed amount of income you have. You'll probably have 1 or 2 days per week or a set amount of hours you have to work, and you know you're going to get those hours, whereas you're not reliant upon the university to run such a scheme. But at the same time, you can't scale it up and scale it down to suit your needs at the time. It depends on your personal needs, which one of these two you prefer, whether you value the flexibility or whether you value the baseline income. Both of these ventures, by the way, will look great on your CV, and you could even combine them with some of the more risky ventures on this list, setting aside part of the earnings you make in order to pursue those goals. But again, that's completely up to you. It's not up to me to tell you how to spend your money. The list of part-time jobs you could take up, by the way, are pretty much endless. I mean, you could be a barista, delivery driver, real estate agent, retail worker, supermarket assistant. The list will go on and just completely depend on your skill level and your preferences and what you'd like to do. Sometimes it can be quite hard to find a job if lots of students have got there already, but if you think outside the box, there's always going to be somewhere to work. The third earning method is freelancing. For anybody who doesn't know what freelancing is, essentially people or organisations will post up tasks they want completed, and you can go away and complete those for them. And again, it covers a whole manner of things, from really technical elements like Photoshop and coding to simple things like transcribing a video. It's sort of like a hybrid of the two earning methods I've mentioned above, in that you're unlikely to run out of work to do, particularly if you have a wide range of skills. But also, you have the ability to scale up and scale down the amount of work you're doing depending on the rest of your schedule. Your earnings can also be significantly higher than the other methods I've mentioned if you have some high-level skills that are really in demand, such as Photoshop and coding. And if you don't possess those skills right now, there's nothing stopping you setting aside time to learn how to do those skills so that down the line you will be able to charge more for those gigs. But you don't need skills this specialised to freelance. For instance, there are companies out there teaching beginner English. Your whole job could be on the phone, sharing basic English skills with those hoping to learn the language. So just going through pronunciation and basic words and building up their talking time. And you wouldn't need to learn another language for this. It'd all be in English, and it's just building up those beginner steps for them. So that's really low level skills. Again, if you're able to watch this video, you're more than qualified to be able to speak English to other people. Probably. Disclaimer. Or another simple task could be simply transcribing data. That's taking it from video form like this and typing it up into closed captions. The skill levels can be really, really low, but obviously the more supply something there is, the lower the price tends to be, economics and all that. And that can feed into the biggest drawback of this method, and that is getting the work when you need it. Particularly when you're starting out, if you're on one of the big websites like Fiverr, there can be thousands of other people supplying the same thing you want to supply. And it can be very hard to stand out compared to people that already have hundreds of reviews. So you may not get any work at all, you may have to charge a lower price than you want, or you may have to build up new skills. Maybe you can't Photoshop right now, but maybe you set aside time every month, and in 6 months' time, you then have the ability to Photoshop, and then you go onto Photoshop and you see everybody else has got their prices sky high. You can set your prices lower, get a few clients through the door. Again, you haven't made any money at this point and you've outlaid, again, the resources of Photoshop. But then you build up the reviews and then you can start charging the same high prices as everybody else. So it comes with high risk, but there's a chance of high reward. It doesn't have to be Photoshop, as I said, there's a whole load of skills you could have. But I don't want to talk about too many because I'll roll that into my next tip. And that fourth earning method is selling to other students. When you first join university, you're likely to be put in loads of different group chats and Facebook pages that had hundreds, if not thousands of other students on there. Why not leverage that to your advantage? Think about what skills they could be missing. It could be home cooked food. It could be an ironing board and the ability to iron. It could be stitching. It's just all manner of simple tasks. You don't have to think too complicated like, oh, they're missing a fully coded, just simple things. What do people want and what are they not getting right now? What can you give them? It could even be your old study notes or approaching your landlord asking if he has any other properties that he's trying to rent that year and trying to rent and get a commission from him that way. And then advertise what you're offering on these pages or on these group chats. Within this, I'm also going to include ticket selling for nightclubs. Now, this is very common pre-COVID. Club nights were a big thing at university, believe it or believe it not. And these were basically where you get deals off the nightclubs to sell tickets at a lower price than the retail price, but you'd also have to buy the tickets beforehand, so when you didn't sell, came out your own pocket. And the easiest way to get this to a vast number of students is to share again on these group chats and on these Facebook pages. Within the wider category of this earning tip, it's worth noting that the risk and reward can massively change. So if you're investing in an iron and an ironing board, that's going to cost you what? I'm guessing here, £20–30. Whereas if you were to say, try and take everybody's Instagram photos for them, you have to invest in a super duper camera. That camera's obviously going to cost you a lot more, but you could probably charge more for those photos, especially if you were able to do model shots than you were for doing somebody's ironing. It's all dependent on your risk appetite and your budgeting. You could even start out by, say, ironing and slowly transition towards something like that. You can see returns being very asymmetrical, meaning there's a lot more upside than downside. This whole method and the method before it all relies on analysing what are people missing, what do people need, and how easily can you provide that. If you can and you can charge for it, then you're in the money. It sounds silly and it's very easy to overthink, but that's what it all comes down to. Providing the skill that somebody's missing. Maybe you don't have those skills yet, but maybe they'll be relatively simple to acquire. Anyway, moving on to my fifth earning tip, and that is reselling. Now, this encompasses many different areas, but for the point of this video, I shall only cover three. That's online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, and drop shipping. With online arbitrage, you essentially look for things online that are priced at one level, see if they're priced on another website at a higher price, buy it, and hope to sell it on the next website. So a key example would be eBay. They tend to run an auction feature and a buy now feature. Now, it doesn't always have the traffic. It's probably gone up during COVID, but they don't always have the traffic on the auctions. It may be you're able to buy it at that price lower than it would normally go for because nobody was checking it that particular day or that particular week. And you could list it up on a buy now function and hope to sell it on for a higher price. Retail arbitrage is essentially the same, but it's where you'd go into a shop. So say in the UK, you could try TK Maxx, see the items in there, see what they're listed for. Are they more expensive online? Yes. Buy the item in store, list it up online. There's obviously a risk with this method in that the products may not sell and you may be stuck with this item that you don't particularly want, particularly need. So it might be worth sticking to a niche you know a lot about and you know there'll be demand for it. The other segment of this strategy, the dropshipping, essentially cuts this out to the point where you'll find an item online on one website, you'll list the same item at a higher price on another website, and then if a customer buys your item, you then jump across to the other website, buy it there, and ship it directly to the customer. Now, besides not being typically ethical, the big problem with dropshipping is that the customer could buy your item, you could then go to purchase it yourself to ship it to the customer, and the one you were looking at could have sold out, and then you have nothing to give the customer. You have to either cancel the order or pay more and make a loss on it. It just depends on how are you going to get them to buy it? How do you know they won't check and find the other cheaper website? The other options with these methods would be to say, buy 1,000 of one item from Alibaba or a like website, and then list them on an individual basis per unit on, say, an Amazon or an eBay or your own website. The risks and returns here are magnified on the other two methods in that you could get nobody biting on it, and then you've got 1,000, I don't know, bottle openers just sat at your house. Like, that's a big investment to get out and get 1,000 bottle openers for them then to be sat there. But again, doing this method on Alibaba, you're likely to get a higher markup, so the rewards are higher. It's all again about balancing your risk and reward and seeing what works for you. If it's something not desired by customers, they simply won't buy it. But that's the risk you take, and that's why it might be worth pairing it with an earlier method I mentioned, such as your part-time job. I'd only recommend doing this with items that you have a lot of knowledge on, or you have a passion on, or that you know what you're doing. Because if you do buy the wrong product, then you're going to be in a bit of a pickle. You could have lost some money, so it's best to do it with something you know to minimize the chance of that happening. Moving on, my sixth money-making method is through affiliate links. Now, how these work are that you can put affiliate links in your description or in your bio whenever you post to social media, on any platform this can be. And if, say, you did a video talking about cameras, that link could be to a camera. And if you were to click on that and go through and buy the camera, you'll get a payment in the form of a kickback and a commission for that person buying that product. Now, obviously, this is only going to work if you have a particularly engaged social media following. Or you could do it another way, where you set up other accounts on social media specifically for that product, or a website, and you then have to try and drive traffic to it, either by promoting it or marketing it or whatever. But again, if you don't have that social media following, this could cost you. It could be that you pay for ads, and then if you don't get any sales, it could have then cost you that way. It could have been to buy the website and the hosting and the domain name. That could have all cost you. It's again based on risk and reward. For this to work, you need quite an engaged social media following. You don't have to be, say, Instagram famous or TikTok famous, but you'd need people to actually go on, click the link and buy the item. Obviously, the higher the ticket price of the item, the more you'll get paid each time, but probably the less people that'll buy it. It all depends on the amount of traffic you can drive. Do you have lots of engaged people that will click on it organically? Or do you have to start looking to inorganic methods? Do you have to start paying for advertisements? Are you then paying out and making your costs higher if you've created another new website? Have you paid for the domain? Have you paid for the hosting? Are you going to have all these costs accrue up, and you're actually going to be able to pay for that? So again, within this segment, there's a high potential for a big reward. So if you're doing cameras and you've got a 5% kickback, you could be getting £50 a time, for instance, but at the same time, you could have done all of this and you could get no kickback at all. And sort of related to this would be creating courses on platforms like Skillshare and Brilliant. Well, I know Skillshare operates like this. I'm not 100% sure about Brilliant, so let me know down in the comments below if I'm wrong. But essentially, you create a course on, say, a topic that you have a lot of area on, and for every minute that's watched, you get paid. Sort of similar to YouTube, but in order to monetize on YouTube, you need 4,000 hours of watch time and 1,000 subscribers. Whereas on, say, Skillshare, you'd get paid the same amount, I believe, for your first view as your millionth view. It stays constant, so it can help you to earn immediately, which is the whole point of this video. There's a lot of methods I've missed off. I touched on stocks earlier. Another one could be starting your own business, where you can accrue vast wealth over a long period, but there often tends to be loss-making at the start. So say with a business, you've got product design, you've got marketing, you've got business plans that got to be right, you've got finance that's got to be sorted out. There's a lot of upfront costs, and that's not what this video was aimed to help. This video wasn't aimed to build long-term wealth. It was aimed to get you from week to week as a student, those few extra pounds. If you have anything that you know of that you'd like to share with the rest of the community, please do drop it down in the description box below, and hopefully we can all get together and all make a few extra pounds. And that's everything I have to share with you today. Thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day.